Good afternoon. Well, I guess we're at a point where everybody in the world has heard the story about the good job interview and the great job I did. And like all Irishmen told stories, they generally improve the standing of the teller. And they might have a moral in them somewhere if he does it right. So if you read carefully or listen carefully. So you've heard the story about the good job interview and the way that went. That was pretty good. Well, let me tell you the other half of that story, which happened a few years later. I was driving a yellow dump truck for Hank Miner, who's the guy who had hired me for forceless. I worked him into it. And just got opportunity, lucky, and I tell it as if it was my good standing. So several years later, I was working, and the truck drivers only got paid if they were driving, the truck was running. Then the operator of the truck got paid, and he then paid the driver, and we made like $1.50 an hour or something like that. All the rest of the time we sat down in a doghouse and played cards for nickel dime and tried to scrounge around and find money to buy a lunch. So in any case, they called us up my rotation. There was 5, 6, 7 drivers there. And when we were busy, it was just every man for himself. They'd go load after load of gravel going all over town. And if it was slow, we played a lot of poker. I wasn't that great a poker player, so I did better driving the truck than I did driving playing poker. So it was, I had taken a load out that morning, and it was not yet lunch, and another load came in, and so they were going to call for Russ, who was next up on the list. And they called down and they said, "Steve, go down and load up with a load of 3/4 minus, whatever it was." And okay. So I went down and loaded with 3/4 minus, and I went up, and there were some gals in the office, and Hank was up there. And I said, I really wasn't supposed to be the next one up. It was Russ's time to go, and Russ is starving. He's got 2 kids at home, 4, whatever. And the gal said, "Well, just shush and do what you're told." And I probably said something smart-ass back to him, and they didn't like that. And Hank's listening to all this, so I get my load sheet, put on my little mini clipboard. I go out and start climbing the truck, and Hank comes out, and he said, "I want you to give those gals in the office a hard time. Those are sweethearts of girls," and blah, blah, blah. I said, "Well, they screwed it up, and they're causing Russ to, not going to eat, and his kids are going to starve, and whatever." And Hank said, "Well, I can still drive that truck. I don't need to put up with you." So I handed him the load sheet, reached in the truck, and pulled my thermos out from underneath the seat, my jacket off the back of the seat, stepped back out of the way, and went, "Go for it." And Hank sprung up into that truck, and he drove off, and I guess I showed him I'd quit. He's left in the lurch, he's having to drive his own damn truck. So then I looked around in the parking lot to see where I'd parked my car. And then it dawned on me that morning, because it was a long way to work, and Hank was going anyway, and he had a company truck, he had stopped and picked me up that morning, just out of a kindness. And so I didn't say a word, I didn't go anywhere. I tucked my jacket under my arm and carried my thermos. I started singing some cowboy songs, and as I walked down this long road out to the main street, I was singing cowboy songs and kicking horse turds out of the way. And it was about 5 miles to the house. By the time I got home, I had seen the error of my ways, but that was too long, too far gone for that. And so there it was. The moral is, you probably want to look around before you jump. So have a good one.